Starting to memorize it now. Okay, now. I was really focused on where I was going.
In addition to my book on jokes, I'm also reading a book on anti-gravity.
Freddie Mechanic.
Hey, Shifty!
So, what about my car?
Welcome everyone back to the improved
Kids Club Show.
We're working on the intro. I am Lieutenant Mike.
I'm Lieutenant Jen.
And we will be also joined throughout the coming weeks by our friends Lieutenant Miguel and other people here to help us out on the Kids Club show. Lieutenant Jen, it's so nice to see you.
It's nice to be here. I've missed everybody.
I've missed everybody too. And I know we had an extended time frame off with the holiday season, and now we're getting back into the groove. And I noticed that there's some changes that are happening with this show.
There are. First off, it's not just Lieutenant Mike anymore. We love him, but some of the rest of us wanted to get in on it too, because we miss you too. So, should I tell him?
Sure, go ahead.
All right. So, before the holidays, we were working on our Get to Know You series. We're going to continue that, but we're going to do more. So, we're going to get to hear about somebody interesting and what it is that they do and why it's interesting, and get to learn more about that.
How interesting. That's right. So the Get to Know You series is going to continue on, but we know that you guys might want to have some more stuff here, and so we've actually taken some of the elements of all of our bugs videos and our DVBS videos, and we're combining them all here together. So we talked about this and thought, this is just a kids club hangout. This is just a place where kids can come and hang out for a few minutes and just put everything else off to the side and have some fun. So we're going to have some silly games that are in here. We're going to have some cool little videos. We're going to have the Get to Know You series where you're going to meet incredible people. And we're going to be, most importantly, learning about God's word and what he has for us in some fun and practical ways. So we're hoping that every Wednesday at 4:30, you continue to join us here on the Lancaster Facebook page or the Lancaster
YouTube page.
I'm so excited, Lieutenant Jen. I'm just bumbling, stumbling, rumbling all the way. So yes. And so make sure that you not only join in, but you share and you tell your friends about it and anybody else that wants to tune in and join us. We're going to have some big announcements coming up about the future and about our programs and about our DVBS, which is right around the corner, as in like this summer. I know it seems like forever away, but it's still coming.
Yes.
So just sit back and relax and enjoy. There's going to be some singing, some games, it's a whole lot of silliness, and we hope that you have fun. So let's get into the show, Lieutenant Jen. Woo! Woo! Oh, we are back, folks. Welcome back to Get to Know Me. That's right. Part of our bigger troop show here, and we are back and better than ever. Why are we better than ever? Why? Because there's more of us. That's right. Joining us now is Lieutenant Jen going forward.
Hi.
She missed you all, and you wanted to see her face, and she's closing her eyes right now, and she's picturing every face watching this. Ready, go. That's good. Oh, look at that smile. And we've got a very special guest with us this week, someone who is near and dear to so many of us here at the Salvation Army Lancaster Corps. And I'm going to give her her proper introduction because this is a term you probably not have heard related to this young lady that's with us. You may recognize her from the halls. You may hear her voice when you call, but this lady is far much more than you could ever imagine. I'd like to present Miss Darlene Colon, President of the Christiana Historical Society and co-founder of the African Historical Society of South Central Pennsylvania. How's that for a title? That's a business card there. Welcome, Miss Darlene, to Get to Know Me. We're so happy to have you.
Well, thank you. I'm honored to be here and look forward to this interview.
Yes. So Miss Darlene has agreed to come on from her home, taking time. We so appreciate that. We've been talking about this for a while, and we're just glad that we're able to do it. And so Miss Darlene has an extensive history of teaching and recreating characters from many historical avenues here in the Lancaster, South Central Pennsylvania area. And we thought it would be really a lot of fun just to learn more about that and to dive into this really interesting topic, and one that, quite frankly, didn't know existed until a couple of years ago when my wife and I were talking with Miss Darlene, and we were so excited and learned so much. So Darlene, just to kind of start us off, what exactly, that's a big title, but what exactly does that mean? What do you do through those organizations?
Through those organizations, well, it's about teaching history, in particular, teaching people about the African American history of this area. And I do this in several ways, not just through lectures, but by actually picking out a few characters and becoming them and teaching in first person.
Wow. And so when you say teaching in first person, you literally mean acting as the character, as if you were, on a Broadway play?
That is correct. Yes, the costuming, I have to learn the mannerisms, the speech, I learn all about their life, and I become them.
Wow, that's a great way to teach. If all our teachers in school were to dress up as like Abraham Lincoln, we'd probably learn a lot more, or we would be terrified of the beards on some of them.
Oh.
So,
That's very true. What made you get started in teaching and recreating these characters?
Well, actually, it was through a friend that I met who was portraying Thaddeus Stevens. And he had a lady with him who was portraying Lydia Hamilton Smith. I'd never heard of her, so I was very interested about her to find out about her life. And it was about a month later, I ran into him without Lydia, and he said, well, she has other things to do. Why don't you do it? And I was like, I know nothing about this. I don't know anything about her. He says, I'll send you some stuff. And I've been doing that ever since. And that's been probably 15 years.
wow.
Very cool.
Wow. We know a little bit about get thrown into the fire and speak in front of people. That we, and especially digitally nowadays,
Yeah.
So I love history, but I gotta admit, in moving around, sometimes it can be interesting and yet overwhelming to find out about local history. I love, big picture. And when we in school, we hear history, we tend to think of that. We tend to think of the World War, and we tend to think of, Lincoln and Washington and those big picture items. But my wife and I, when we moved into towns, we tend to find out such fun little things that nobody knew, and even the history of our own Salvation Army building was buried on was built on a former cemetery for Quakers. Yeah. And, you know, finding out about that history and why they were there and what they ran from and things of that nature, stuff that we just never knew. So why is it so important to you to know about local history and about, you know, where you live in the town that you grew up and such?
Well, I think it's important because there are people, you learn so much about the big characters in history. Like I grew up, I learned about Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass, but when I started learning about people around, that was just so much more fascinating. Uh, for instance, Lydia Hamilton Smith was a lady who was very devout in her religion, strong in her faith. She became one of the first women to own property in Lancaster. She actually owned 6 properties here in Lancaster,
Wow.
which was unheard of in her time, which was in the 1800s. And she also owned a boarding home in Washington, D.C. She owned stock in the railroads. So she was quite a lady of her time.
Wow.
And I found this fascinating. And I would say to young ladies, well, if she can do this in the 1800s, what's stopping you today?
Yeah, absolutely.
It was just, standing on her faith and learning and education.
Absolutely.
She understood that power.
And that is so important to tie, you know, a lot of people tie all that together. You know, we talked in previous interviews before about God giving us passions and interests, and you know, he gives those to us for a purpose. If you enjoy reading, there's a reason you enjoy reading. If you enjoy you know, what music, there's a reason for that, and you should pursue it. And even sometimes when it's hard, not giving up on the education front. Would you agree that even sometimes this has been hard, but you've had to plow through some of those obstacles to get more into your new passion?
Oh, most certainly. There was a lot of learning to do there because I knew nothing about the lifestyle of the 1800s.
Mhm.
I knew nothing about Catholic religion. I had to learn that. I had to learn how to walk, how to talk, how to stand from people of that era. And that was quite an obstacle for me because the person who taught, I was with a group, would tell us, I can tell by the way you're standing whether you're in character or not.
Mhm.
So it's like, oh, so we had to be very conscious of how we moved, how we sat, and how we talked.
It is different. I've, you know, having done some acting and I've not done character where I've had to learn specific people, but that blocking, sometimes you forget, oh, I need to be more to the left, I'm way to the right, and things you don't think of. Yeah, absolutely. So go ahead, Jen.
I know I've gotten to see some of the pictures of your different characters and see in the newspaper about different things that you've done. And I know that you're very proud of your heritage and you want to share it with others. Why do you think it's so important for people today to know about your own history and about the culture you come from?
Oh, that is extremely important to me because I didn't know my own history for quite a while till I started digging and found that my ancestors were involved in the Underground Railroad.
Wow.
And to know that that specific point in history was so phenomenal and that I had family there, boy, I tell you, that gives you a sense of pride.
Yeah.
And then when I read about their faith, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to know more of this. And that instilled that. And I teach that to my grandchildren and my great grandchildren. And I see a sense of pride in them. And they want to question more, they want to know more, but to know that your family was involved in so many different things that went on locally that you weren't aware of. I mean, that there's a sense of pride there that they need to know.
And
Not just about Gettysburg or somewhere else or all those other places, but what happened right here.
yeah, and kind of piggybacking off of that question, Mr. Darlene, you know, some people may watch this and say that's great, but at the flip side, I'm hearing a lot about why I, as as a white man, am supposed to be learning more about the African American history and heritage, and why I, as a white man, should be hearing more about the Puerto Rican heritage and pride and Latino heritage, especially in this area. And I would ask, on top of that, which on top of learning your own heritage and knowing, why is it important, especially in this day and age, for us to know about each other's heritage and knowing about each other's history and learning about that? Why is that so important today?
Well, because of all these histories come together. I mean, they all touch one another. Um, I couldn't understand you if I don't know your history and what you went through as a person. Going back to Christiana, when my family was involved with the underground, there were several factions that worked together. It was the African American community, it was the Quaker community, and they came together and they fought together, they stood together, they prayed together. And to me, that was very important to know that, because it made such a difference in understanding their religion, what they went through on a daily basis, the sacrifices they made for one another. And I think people need to learn that today, because people are sacrificing for one another today, and to understand what one has gone through. It really makes a difference in how you relate to people.
Yeah, relatability is something I think that is missing in
Yeah.
this in culture today, in our society, I should say, and empathy for what other people have gone through and are going through. And I agree totally. And we've talked about this before. And we sometimes can be scary times, seeing so many people in a world around us that are angry, and we don't understand why. And I think what you have said here, if people were to really look in the history and see where we have worked together, no matter race or religion or gender or anything, and we've intersected so many times, only to have some obstacle break us apart again. And in order to keep that from happening, we got to know more. So thank you for that. Well, we don't want to keep you too far. We're going to be moving on here, but as we wrap up, hopefully there's someone watching right now that goes, I had no idea this world existed. I could dress up as some of my favorite historical figures. I could learn that my family was involved in the Underground Railroad, or my family was involved in some big historical event. How do I even go about learning that? So if someone's asking those questions watching this video, what advice would you give them?
Well, first of all, is talk to your elders. Talk about the history, because there was such a wealth of knowledge there. I think the saying was, every time one of your elders die, you lose a museum.
Wow.
You lose a library. They have a great deal of information. And then I like to read old newspapers, and lots of information there to give you more in-depth knowledge, not just census records or other things you'll find in the library, but newspapers give you a lot of information. But the thing is to establish that relationship with your elders. I mean, they know a lot more than they say.
That's right. They're not hoarding information either. If you ask for a story, they're going to give you one.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely.
well, as we wrap up, Lieutenant Jen, did you have anything closing you'd like to say?
I liked your point about when we know each other's history, we know about each other, we can get to understand each other better. In ministry, that's why we learn about other religions, because how can I share about my faith if I don't know about what you believe in? So that taking the time to learn about others also shows that we care, and that'll make people more interested in talking. So thank you for that reminder, especially with all sorts of stuff going on these days, that if we just took time to talk to people
and
get to know them, that and get to know these are some of the struggles that they've been through or that their families have been through, that we're not as different as we think we are.
Exactly.
And I'll be able to say this publicly for the first time that I have learned so much from Darlene. One of the people I look up to in life was a gentleman named Ernie Ladd, who played in the NFL and was a wrestler and a politician. And he used to say, "Come over here and sit under the learning tree of the big cat Ernie Ladd, and you can learn from the big cat. Ernie Ladd's got something to teach you." Well, Miss Darlene has been my learning tree many times. I've asked questions that I never thought I'd have to ask, and she's been open and welcoming. And Darlene, I want to say thank you for teaching me and for being open and allowing vulnerability. And in this past year, hopefully, many of us have learned that we can ask those questions. If you don't know, it's okay to ask.
Yeah.
And we appreciate that, and I've learned so much. And so thank you for your work and your ministry through your teaching. I've told you that before. We found that as a ministry, and we pray that this coronavirus goes away so you can go out and dress up a lot more.
Yes. Well, thank you for this opportunity to chat about it. And yeah, I do miss dressing up. I mean, I'm looking forward to soon putting on my hoop skirt and going out.
See, maybe we need to get a digital version of this out on the website. So I'm just saying, now's the time.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we want to thank Darlene for coming on. And if you want to know more about either organization, the Christiana organization or the African American Historical Society of South Central Pennsylvania, we will have links in the description box. We highly recommend you go check that out. And stay tuned right after this to see a few pictures of Miss Darlene in action. So thank you again, Darlene.
Thank you.
Yes, and take care. And now we're going to go on to some more fun here on the Troops program. See you later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
A big block of cheddar cheese. Will it float? It sank right to the bottom.
Let's get this set up. Come on, get the Zoom all up. You ready?
Yep.
Are you sure? Is your lighting? Fix your lighting. Fix your. No, I can't. That's too bright. Take it off. No.
Is that better? Is that better? Is that better? Hello? I can't hear you. You're muted.
I'm sorry. This is hard. Trying to
All right,
get this
is that
done.
better?
Yes. There we go. That's good. You're glowing. It's beautiful. That's so good.
I don't know if I
Yeah.
like it.
Well, it's floating now. Floating head time.
Come on,
No.
guys. Come on. We're trying to be serious.
We're trying to do the Zoom thing for the interview. Floating heads. No, go
Come on.
away.
Seriously, like we're seriously trying to be serious.
Oh my goodness! I'm telling you, what are all those filters that you're? Hey, where'd I go?
You broke the Zoom.
I didn't mean to break the Zoom.
I want cookies.
Are you there? Are you there?
I see up your nose.
Am I? This is hard.
Huh?
This is hard. Zooming is hard.
It says, huh?
It does. Communicating is hard, especially nowadays.
It is.
Remember when we can just, communicate in, in person or on the, why do we got to go through all this just to communicate with people?
But that's true. But could you put yourself in a picture? I mean, at least now you can be smart, wear a hat.
I just want to go.
I
just want to go back to the way it was. Why do we have to go through all of this stuff just to be able to talk to people? Why is it worth it? Why do we have to do this just to talk to people and just to talk about it? I think we should just stop. I think we should just give up.
Well, yeah, it's hard. But you remember how, like, at the beginning of all this, we weren't, like, everybody was just like, oh, we got to stay home. And, like, everybody was home from school and from work. And we didn't use Zoom.
Yeah.
It was really boring.
It was.
And I really miss my friends.
It is.
And I know it's not the same, and trying to get the lighting just right. And, you see all those, Instagram pictures and TikToks, and everybody just looks all fancy. And I'm like, my hair keeps cutting in and out, but I'm still glad I get to see you. Even if we're talking this way, I still get to see your face. And I've gotten to talk to other people that I haven't seen in a long time. And there's even people that I haven't seen in, like, a really long time that I haven't seen in person, but I've been able to see in this way. So it's better than not being able to see anybody at all and being by yourself.
So are you saying that no matter what the obstacles, it's important to communicate with each other?
Yeah, I guess I am. That sounds smarter than I look.
Sounds familiar too.
It does.
Yes, it sounds like, in the book of Acts, chapter 1, verse 8, it says, but you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes on you, and you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem and all Judea and Samaria and the ends of the earth. It's really hard to talk to people to all the ends of the earth, but it's really interesting. This is one of Jesus's last words before he ascended back to heaven. And he made it a point to point out the importance of communicating with people, no matter what, no matter where, to going to the ends of the earth. And I find it, as you were talking, I wonder if we realize actually how much easier it is for us to reach the ends of the earth than it was in Jesus' day. We have the ability to call people that live in Australia. We have the ability to text people that live in Japan. We have the ability to Zoom people that live all over the world. And we have the ability to still communicate in spite of a pandemic where we need to stay home with people all around us. And so maybe Jesus realized the importance of communication even then and made it a priority, and even tied it into how important it is to tell other people about him no matter what. Maybe that's why we're doing this.
Maybe.
You are about to play Bible Escape Room. You're going to start in a giant mansion, and you must get out of the front door before time runs out. But to do that, you're going to have to unlock several doors. Each door needs the correct answer to a Bible riddle for it to unlock. Are you ready? Let's go! You've got 20 seconds to answer this first riddle. I disobeyed God's one wish and ended up in the belly of a fish. Who am I? I'm Jonah. Great job! You made it to the second door. You've got 20 seconds to escape. I took down a giant, and everyone said I was brave. But now, my friends and I are hiding in a cave. Who am I? I'm David. Impressive! You made it past the first 2 riddles, but there's another locked door. You've got 20 seconds to escape. I was famous for being strong, but that only lasted while my hair was long. Who am I? I'm Samson. Well done! You're making good progress, but we've got to keep going. Here's another locked door. You've got 20 seconds to escape. I prayed when the law said no one could pray, and God kept the hungry lions away. Who am I? Daniel. Wow! You're getting good at this. But can you get past this next door? You've got 20 seconds to escape.
I risked my life to ask the king a question. And then I told the king about Haman's deception. Who am I? I'm Esther.
Great work. These are getting harder. Can you figure out this next riddle? You've got 20 seconds. I was spending the night chained up in jail when an angel broke me out without even posting bail. I'm Peter. You're so close! There are only 2 doors left. Here's the next riddle. You've got 20 seconds.
When my son was born, I had to lay him in the hay. Now, we celebrate his birthday on Christmas Day. Who am I? I'm Mary.
This is it. You've made it to the last door. You're so close. You've got 20 seconds to answer this last riddle and break out. In my Father's house, there are many rooms. You can have one because I broke out of the tomb. Who am I? I'm Jesus. Great job! You broke out! You really know your Bible characters. Way to go!